Hi, hello, and welcome to my channel. I am literally so excited for today's video because today we are going to be finally reading our Lynn Painter books. Originally, when I came up with this idea, I was intending on just kind of like casually reading these books, but I feel like the time for that has passed at this point. Like literally, I think I talked about this for the first time like 2 months ago, if not longer. So instead, we're going to be doing a fun little challenge that I'm sure all of you have seen before. We are going to be reading Lynn Painter for 24 hours straight. And really quickly, let's go over the books really fast. We have Mr. Wrong Number, The Do-Over, The Love Wager, and then there's also Accidentally Amy, and that's the one that I have on my Kindle. And I'm gonna be honest, I have already read it. I was in a reading slump a few weeks back, and I just needed something really light and fluffy and something that I felt for sure I would like, so I did read that one. Let's go ahead and grab my phone and see what time it is. So it is 11, okay, you can't see that. I had to like fully darken my screen so you could see it. It's 11:22. So at 11:30 specifically, we're gonna start reading our first book, which is gonna be Mr. Wrong Number, and we'll kind of see how far we get into these books. I did do the math. Like I added all of the page numbers together and then divided it by 50 because typically I read 50 pages per hour. According to my calculations, I should be able to read all three of these books in 19.88, I think it was, hours. So I should have plenty of time to read all three of these books, but we'll see how it goes because life. Anyway, without further ado, let's start reading Mr. Wrong Number. Ma'am, you're gonna need to vacate the premises. I need to start reading. Bad luck has always followed Olivia Marshall, but when a "what are you wearing" text from a random number turns into the hottest, most entertaining relationship of her life, she thinks things might be looking up. I've read enough. That sounds so fun. Just kidding, I haven't read enough. It says, Colin Beck has always seen Olivia as his flatmate's annoying little sister until she moves in with them and he realizes she's turned into an altogether sexier distraction. He's determined to keep his distance, but it isn't easy, especially when he discovers she's the flirty, fun, and anonymous girl he's been secretly messaging for weeks. Oh, I kind of wish I didn't know that. Now Mr. Wrong Number has a decision to make. Should he shut down the messages before things get messy or turn up the heat? I should have seen that coming. The second I heard about Colin Beck, I was thinking, oh no, she's gonna have to like choose between this flirty texter or the flatmate. But obviously it's gonna end up being the same person. I should have seen that coming because there's so many rom-coms that have that same premise. That's why a lot of times when I go into books, I don't read the back because I just want to be along for the ride. I don't want anything spoiled, but oh well. Anyway, let's go ahead and start our book, which the first chapter says Olivia, so that means I'm pretty sure that it's going to be multi-perspective. I'm assuming it's going to be between Olivia and Colin. Is that his name? Yes, Colin. I've already forgot. Chapter 5, we start with Colin. Multi-perspectives for romances specifically are my absolute favorite. I love them in all circumstances basically, but like the romance I like it even more because it's like getting two love stories in one. I freaking love it. So currently it is 11:35 and I do typically let the dogs out to go to the bathroom at like noon. But today I think I'm gonna do it at like 12:30, and that way while they're doing their business I can give you like my 1 hour update or whatever. So I don't think I'm gonna do an hour update every single hour because that seems excessive, but the first book for the first hour I think we're gonna need an update. So anyway, I need to start reading and stop talking. So cute already. Okay, I know I said I'd give you an update in like an hour, but the first couple pages already have me laughing, literally out loud. I didn't have a drinking problem, I had a life problem, as in my life sucked and I needed to fall into a coma variety of sleep if I were ever going to take any shot at formulating a plan for my future. It literally just turned 12:30. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that, but I'm literally on page 50. So the whole like 50 pages an hour thing is literally on the nose. So anyway, met Mr. Wrong Number almost immediately on page 2. And we have since gotten several different text conversations. This is kind of like how they're formatted. I've read books that have like letters, and I've had a book that had like pictures and stuff. Like I like when things kind of like break up the writing. So the little text conversations are fun, and they're not like overtly flirty, but there's definitely like cute little like banter between the two, which also, by the way, she calls him Mr. Wrong Number and then he calls her Miss Dial. And then we also have gotten little bits of Colin and Olivia together. It's, again, not very flirty, but like also a little bit. It's one of those things where like they've known each other forever because it's her brother's best friend, and he's like a little bit older, so she's always like hated him because he used to always like make fun of her and things like that. I mean, it says on the back that he used to think she was like his best friend's annoying little sister, but now she's like older and cute or whatever. So they haven't gotten to that point yet, but they definitely have like little playful conversations. Olivia is one of those characters that's just a complete mess. Like literally everything she touches breaks. Any type of situation she tries to put herself in, it goes wrong. Like she's just one of those people that's just like a walking disaster, and it makes for like a fun, playful story, but also I hope we kind of develop a little bit more from that, because if it's kind of like that the entire time, it can get kind of like, all right already, I get it. But that's kind of where I'm at. So far I really like this book. It is so cute. I really like it. Are you comfy? I was curled up nice and comfy on my chair with my book in my lap, and Loon refused to not be attached to me. So she's like hanging off the side of the chair. It's 1:26 right now, and I wasn't intending on doing an update yet, but I just got to page 81, chapter 5, and we're getting our first Colin perspective. And basically Colin's perspective is starting off by him finding out that Miss Style is Olivia. I love the fact that we get his reaction, but also I just love the fact that that's what's opening up his perspective. It literally starts off with Colin. Holy shit. A few pages before that, like when the interaction started, something specific that Colin said, I was like, oh, he's about to find out that it's Olivia. And sure enough, nothing is even happening right now, but I can't stop like smiling. Good grief. All right, it is 2:46 and there's no significant point that I'm at right now. I'm on page 145, but I have a video that I was supposed to upload at 2 o'clock today and I totally forgot because I was too sucked into this book. And yeah, Olivia and Colin are definitely becoming more friends now. Their banter back and forth is very like sarcastic, and I'm a very sarcastic person, so I'm loving the snarky little comments that they make to each other. And there's definitely a few that like, if I was someone that annotated, I'd be annotating them. Her brother is hardly in the book. All three of them live together, but her brother is conveniently never home. Olivia's personality of being like a chaotic mess is definitely becoming a little tiresome. It's not like something annoying enough to like not enjoy the book, but like it's just kind of like talked about too much at this point. Yeah, and obviously there is something in the book about Olivia's situation that's kind of like looming. Whenever stories do that and there's like an obvious thing that can like blow up in someone's face, and you know with this kind of story that it's going to, it's like hard for me to like be happy for her in certain moments, because it's like, ugh. Other than that, honestly, loving this book. It's 5:01 and I've got a pizza delivery. I figured this would be the best option for dinner tonight, since I'm gonna be up all night long. If I get hungry at like 3 o'clock in the morning or something, I'll have something to eat. So I'm very excited. I'm freaking starving and this smells so good. Just trying to eat this without getting grease on my book. Two things. First off, the way the light is coming through the window right now is magical. But then also, I totally failed and got grease on my book. So, you win some, you lose some. It's 6:36 and we have officially finished Mr. Wrong Number. This was such a good book. And I actually just realized that there's a quote on the front that says, "Sides splittingly funny, I dare you not to fall in love." And that was actually a quote by Allie Hazelwood, who wrote The Love Hypothesis, which is another book that I really, really liked. But this definitely was, well, first off, I definitely fell in love with it. But also, this was actually really funny. Like, I found myself smiling and like giggling throughout the entire thing. And there was also just like so many like funny lines that, again, like if I was an annotator, I would have been marking this book up. Right now this is feeling very 5-star territory, which I feel like any book, if it leaves me kind of like feeling giddy, I'm like 5 stars. And our next book that we're gonna be reading is The Do-Over. This one's basically about a girl who finds her boyfriend like cheating on her, like actively cheating on her on Valentine's Day. But then it takes like a kind of like Groundhog's Day type of twist, and she has to basically relive that day over and over and over again. And apparently during that time, she also meets someone new, and I'm really interested in seeing how that's gonna be playing out. One thing that I can kind of see just from skimming through is every chapter starts with a confession. The Love Hypothesis actually had something kind of similar to that. That one literally had like a hypothesis at the beginning of every chapter, and they were always really cute and just kind of gave clues to what that chapter was going to be about. The book didn't like need those, but it just was kind of like a fun little bonus, and I'm guessing that these confessions are going to be kind of like that. I just read the prologue, and it's basically talking about Valentine's Day, I guess, like her thoughts on Valentine's Day. And now we're on to the first chapter, and I wanted to read you the first confession because I thought it was kind of like sweet in a sad way. When I was 10, I started putting confession strips into a box in my closet so that if anything happened to me, people would know that I was more than just the quiet girl who followed the rules. But then right after that it says, the first Valentine's Day. So this is where it's all gonna go down. Mr. Wrong Number is obviously about adults. They're 25 and 29. In this one, we just got a reference to a high school, so these people are still in high school. But the thing that I actually think was kind of funny, the high school is called Hazelwood High, and on my last book, Allie Hazelwood had left that quote on the front of the cover. So I wonder if Lynn Painter like named the high school after Allie Hazelwood. Also, literally 2 seconds later, she's explaining her boyfriend, and she basically just referenced his Ivy League tortoiseshell glasses, and in the last book the love interest also wore tortoiseshell glasses, so that's a very specific thing to have in multiple books. Does Lynn Painter wear glasses? Because I do feel like that's like a common theme in her characters, because like the main character also, like the female lead, also just put on some glasses, and Olivia in the last book also wore glasses, so I need to find this out. I feel like I've seen pictures of Lynn Painter and she wasn't wearing glasses. Oh, she totally is. I'll pop it on the screen. My phone is not wanting to focus on the picture, but that's so funny. So she does wear glasses, so that's probably why a lot of her characters are wearing glasses. Cute. But anyway, I'm gonna keep reading for a little bit and check in with you a little later. My camera battery is flashing at me, so I need to charge that for a little bit. So I will see you in like an hour or two probably. I definitely feel like I'm reading this one a little bit slower than the last one. I feel like I should have gotten a little bit further than I have. Technically, like I said, I read about 50 pages an hour, and I'm on page 115. It's been about 2 hours, I think a little bit longer, but about 2 hours. So technically I'm right on track, but I still feel like I'm going a little slower. I think at this point we've gone through 5 different Valentine's Days, maybe 4, and then we're going into the 5th. I'm not really sure, I've lost count. And the point that we're at right now, I feel like feels like a good place to stop, like for life to go back to normal kind of a thing. But no, in a couple of days we have yet another godforsaken Valentine's Day. Also, by the way, a little update on the confessions. I don't like them as much as I thought I was going to. Yeah, they just kind of seem relatively pointless. Like there was a couple of them, like one of them said like, I have a fake ID or something like that. But there's been at least a couple where I feel like it's supposed to kind of more so give you like a backstory on her as a person. For example, confession number 9 is, in 7th grade, I went through a phase where I took taxis all over the city just for something to do when I couldn't handle being alone anymore. So I feel like it's kind of supposed to give a backstory because she is a very quiet, reserved person. Like literally the opposite of Olivia from the last book. Olivia, as we know, was like very just like bubbly, outgoing, kind of like a train wreck of a person essentially. And then Olivia is kind of more reserved. She's very studious. She wants everything to be perfect, very type A. So that's been kind of interesting to read like the total opposite female lead type of character. Another thing that I wanted to mention is I found a couple other like similarities of the characters from this book and the last one. So we already know about the glasses, but then also there was another one where both female lead characters, so Olivia from the last book and Emily from this one, can't swim. So I'm wondering if Lynn Painter can't swim as well. I don't know, they kind of feel like little Lynn Painter Easter eggs within her books, and I think it's kind of fun. I'm on page 137 and I'm getting more into the book. And I don't think it's a spoiler because I feel like it's pretty inevitable with every like Groundhog's Day type like movie that I've ever watched. There always comes a day where the person's just like, fuck it. And they just do whatever they want. We're on that day. And like this kind of attitude is just like more cheeky and more fun, and yeah, it's making the reading experience more fun too. Also, I found 2 more little Lynn Painter Easter eggs. These are literally so fun to find. One of them was Nick, the new love interest, works at 402 Inc. And in Mr. Wrong Number, 402 popped up as like a column that Olivia worked for. And then the other one was the name Beck. So in the last book, the male love interest's last name, or maybe it was the female's last name. It was one of their last names. And in this book, Beck is just like a random coworker that we don't actually know. Her boss just like texted her and was like, can you come in today? Beck called out. So Beck isn't really like a character in the book or like in the story, but it was a name that popped up and I thought that was funny. So I'm so interested in like looking up all of these little Easter eggs to see how they correlate with her life, because I feel like they have to. It is 1:36 and I have just finished the do-over. I don't know that I really have anything else to say about this book other than what I've already said. This is The Love Wager, and this is Lynn Painter's most recent release. I almost said upload. Got YouTube videos on the brain. Basically, it's about Haley Piper, who's hit rock bottom. She goes on a date with someone and they decide that they're not compatible for like a romantic relationship, but then they end up kind of like making a love wager and basically being the wing women or wing man for each other and trying to get each other dates or something like that. They text about their dates, often scheduling them at the same restaurant so that if things don't go well, the 2 of them can go get tacos afterward. Spoiler, they get a lot of tacos together. Hello, good morning. It's a little after 8. My phone is charging, so I can't show you my actual phone, but it's 8:03. I fell asleep. I totally went into this hoping to just read all throughout the night and like stay up and everything, but I'm gonna be honest, at like 2:30, 3 o'clock, my brain was dead. I did not get very far in our book at all. Used a bobby pin as a bookmark. I got to page 23. There were so many times where I was reading and I stopped to try to like think about what I just read and I had no clue what just happened. So I just wasn't like processing things anymore and my energy was just so low. So I did end up going to bed at like 2:30, 3 o'clock. I don't remember exactly, but somewhere in that time frame. But I'm ready. I am ready to get back into this book. One of the big things that I noticed last night that I'm actually really excited for is the fact that the characters in this book are some of the characters that were in Mr. Wrong Number. I don't think that they're gonna play like a big part in the story, but they were mentioned. So basically what's happened so far is Haley is a bartender and she's bartending for a wedding, and one of the wedding guests is the brother of the bride and his name is Jack, and within the first like few pages or so his relationship ended up like blowing up in his face and Haley got dragged into it a little bit, and basically the night ended with Haley and Jack hooking up, and that's the rock bottom hookup that's referenced in the beginning of the synopsis. So she basically wakes up, is horrified, sneaks off, and that's kind of the last I've heard of her so far. But Jack has woken up and he's met his family for breakfast after the wedding. He basically goes up to his older brother Will, and I was like, oh, that's so funny. Will was the name that they used in Mr. Wrong Number. And then right after that it says he sat down next to Colin, his best friend and brand new brother-in-law, and I'm like, Colin was the male lead in Mr. Wrong Number. And my brain just immediately went to the Lynn Painter like Easter eggs that I was looking for. So I was just thinking, oh, those must be names of people that she knows in real life. Well, then right after that it says Jack asks Colin, where's Livy? And I'm like, hold up. So this is Jack, the brother that was hardly mentioned in Mr. Wrong Number. So we've got like the same characters but like a different story. And I'm so excited about it. I think after that my brain really checked out, because I thought that was like the page I was on, and it was not. It was like a few pages back, so I'm gonna have to skim over what I've already read to kind of catch myself back up. But anyway, I'm gonna keep reading. I've got a fresh cup of iced coffee. I'm still so tired, but like I feel more awake now. I'm on page 44. I don't know what time it is. I haven't been reading obviously for very long, but this book is like itching a pet peeve of mine. I feel like that was a weird way to say that. She's on a date with someone right now, Haley, and he keeps calling her Hal. I don't understand people's need to like shorten other people's names. I understand that a lot of times it's like a sign of affection. Like my name is Jensen, and my aunt and my mom specifically call me Jency, which is why my channel is Jency Reads. So that kind of like aspect of it doesn't bother me. But like, say your name is like Christopher. If you introduce yourself to me as Christopher, that's what I'm gonna call you. I don't care if everybody else in your life calls you Chris. I will call you Christopher because that's what you told me. I cannot tell you how many times immediately upon meeting someone, I tell them my name and they're like, oh, can I call you Jen? No. I want you to call me what I told you my name was. And I do feel like in my case, it's probably because my name is kind of weird, so a lot of people don't remember it. But I understand that. Like, that's fine. I would rather you not remember and just ask me than try to immediately change it. So anyway, that's my little name rant. Basically, Haley and Jack are both like signed up to a dating app, and they've already found each other on the app and had a couple like just casual friendly conversations, and kind of have already said like, we're not dating, we are not options for each other, but they're both going on their first dates. And yeah, Haley is on hers right now, and from the second they sat down, he keeps calling her Hal, and it's driving me and Haley absolutely bonkers. So anyway, I'm gonna keep reading. Clearly this date is not going well. Also, they sat down and he immediately had an issue with how expensive the menu was. So she ordered a side salad and fries to kind of like make it as cheap as possible. And then he like immediately turned around and made fun of her for like being on a diet. And it was kind of funny. She said, not to him, but like in her head, she said, yes, because the French fry diet is all the rage, Kyle. So anyway, I'm gonna keep reading. It has come to my attention that I may have been pronouncing Haley's name wrong. They're on speed dates, and she just exchanged names with the first guy, and he said, oh my god, I used to love The Parent Trap. And I watched The Parent Trap about a quadrillion times when I was younger, and I'm pretty sure the girl's name was Hallie, and now that I'm looking at the spelling of Haley's name, I think it is, in fact, Hallie. Anyway, that's all I had to say about that. I just wanted to correct myself. Hi guys. It's 11:14 and I don't want to read anymore. I thought going to bed last night would kind of like solve this little problem, but alas, it did not. I'm on page 146 right now, and at this point, Hallie and Jack have gone on a bunch of different dates. Some of which they've talked about, some of them they've just kind of like briefed over. And we've gotten to the point where like one of them has realized that they have feelings for the other, and so they're trying to like work through their feelings, that kind of a thing. It's a very predictable storyline so far, but that honestly doesn't bother me when it comes to fluffy romances, because I feel like they're all generally the same, just with like different characters and slightly different circumstances. But that being said, the thing that is kind of bothering me though, and I think is the reason why I'm mostly getting, I guess, bored, it's kind of like a combination of a couple of different things. First off, obviously the fact that I'm reading 3 of these stories, not only in a row, but like back to back, but then also they're all written by the same author, obviously. And I'm gonna be honest, the little Easter eggs that I was finding were fun at first, because I feel like they're little tidbits of Lynn Painter herself that she's like putting into her books, which I love the concept of. But there are certain circumstances and even like phrasing, actions, and things like that that the characters are doing that have literally been in every single one of these books. For example, I've been writing things down as I've gone along. In 2 of the books, the female character said band name called it after saying something stupid. In at least 2 different books, potentially 3, the female character got a piggyback ride. In both The Love Wager and The Do-Over, there was a scene where during those piggyback rides, the female character put their nose into the male character's neck, and the male character mentioned how their nose was cold. Also, in 2 of the books at least, the female character has been very specifically attracted to the male character's neck. In every single book, the way that the people kind of tease each other, like tease their annoyance, is by flipping each other off, which is kind of a weird thing for me because like I can't remember the last time I saw someone flip the bird. I don't know, when I say it out loud, it doesn't seem like that much, but like it's just making the stories really repetitive. And I do want to like say, I still like Lynn Painter's writing. I think her books are super cute. I just feel like it was not a good idea to read them back to back like I have been. So yeah, technically since it is almost 11:30, I have hit the 24-hour mark. And originally I was thinking if I was like halfway through a book, I was just gonna keep reading it until I was done, but I really just don't want to read anymore. At this point, I feel like I'd be giving this book a disservice if I kept reading and like force myself to finish it. I feel like if I give it a couple of days and come back to it, I'll enjoy it more. So I think that's what we're gonna do. I think this is gonna be the end of this video. Plot twist. I will be finishing this book by the end of the month, so it'll be in my reading wrap up. If I do this again, I'll definitely make sure that the books have more variety. But anyway, that is everything for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have/have had the most amazing of days, and I will hopefully see you guys in the next one.